Now, bringing in our chief legal analyst, Conley Rhodes, to talk about all that we've seen in the Middle East in terms of the legality of some of the stuff. Khalif, there's a lot to break down. International waters, attacks there, but also the legality of going to war. Can you break down what the law says in terms of the definition of war and what Congress has to do with that?
I love the question. I mean, first of all, you got to make sure we're using the right words. It's not a war. That's what the president is saying. That's what the administration is saying. Because if it is a war, then there's a number of things that have been and must be triggered. I go to the Vietnam War, 1973. That's the origins of the War Powers Act. It was passed in response to folks going to Vietnam. So once it was passed, it overrode Richard Nixon's veto. The president's required to notify Congress within 48 hours of deploying troops into hostilities and withdraw troops within that 60 to 90 days time frame, unless Congress gets authorization to act. And so, first of all, we got to make sure that it's a war. If it's not a war, and that's what he's saying, this is not a war, this is us attempting to assist in the conflict, using everything but saying a war, so this is not triggered. So, I mean, if it's a war, 100% this is triggered, and I think you'd have to have a lot more bipartisan support before you can even get to the breaking down and chopping up. Okay, you're saying it's not a war, but it is. There's not enough votes to make sure that none of this matters anyway. The president right now has the full support of the Republican Party. We saw yesterday, 47 to 53, that failed. Today, even if it's successful, they won't have the 2/3 majority to override a president's veto. He's going to have the power to do this, even if it's defined as a war or not.
What kind of precedent does this set? I mean, can any president, including obviously Trump and going forward, there's that gray area between the power they have during that 60 to 90 day window and having to go to Congress going, okay, now we need to be going to war.
Yeah, I love that question as well. The War Powers Act is probably more symbolic than anything. There have been dozens of resolutions that have been brought before Congress, and only a few have passed. Yemen War 2019, it passed both chambers. It was vetoed, didn't have enough to override it. Iran 2020, this was again President Trump. It passed both chambers, didn't have enough votes to override. And those are the only times in history where it's passed both chambers and then it was overwritten. The first one that I mentioned in Lebanon in 1983 was the only one where it was, okay, we're going to allow you to have troops there. They were already there. Then the resolution was passed. I think, again, it's more symbolic, and the Congress members are stating that as well. A representative out of New York said the same thing. He says, look, we don't have the votes, but I want to make sure that people are on the record where they stand. So I think it's more symbolic than anything.
Julian touched on it, and I asked retired Marine Colonel Mark Cancian about the sinking of the Iranian warship in international waters. We're learning a little bit more about that. He said this was better left to lawyers, and you are chief legal analyst. So when we have something from a country where we are attacking, but they're not posturing aggressively, or they are in international waters, what's the legal area there of, is that allowed?
It's going to be case-by-case scenario. That's the first thing I'd say. I mean, there's going to be international tribunals that look at these types of things. If we are the aggressor and being hostile to a non-hostile country, it would depend on the past. It would depend on their current standing. It would depend on if they're a NATO country. A number of those things would have to come into play. But for sure, I can tell you that it's not going to be one-off for every time. Like, this is okay. You've now violated some international type of laws. It will have to be case-by-case. In this scenario right here, I'd say I would want a tribunal, not just an attorney, folks that have done this for a number of years, looking at examining what's occurring. If you look at what the administration said so far, a lot of this was preemptive, believing that we would get attacked if they were attacked. And so they were attempting to de-escalate something from happening with action before it occurred.
Yeah, it seems a lot of it, you are protected once you are at war with the country, but if you're at war, that's the term that we haven't used yet. A lot there to break down. As far as chief legal analyst Khalif Rhodes isn't going anywhere far.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.